Welcome to another edition of DMV SPORTS SHOW. I'm your host, Rasul McGee. It's Saturday, right? It's Saturday to hear the sports you want to hear on your weekend. We had a little technical difficulty, but you know what? I am here. I am here. I am here. I am here to have no fear. I'm here to give the sports that you want to hear on your weekend. We got a lineup that you wouldn't believe. We are going to talk about the Washington Commanders OTA, and I will say here first that OTAs was the most exciting thing that the fans had ever seen on the planet. We're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to talk about the Washington. We're going to talk about the Washington Wizards. We're going to talk about the Baltimore Orioles, the Washington Nationals, as always. You know, stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about the NBA. Oh man, the NBA basketball has been crazy. Crazy. And we're going to get to that in a minute as well. Before we do, as we always do, the call in number is 512-543-4662. I say again, 512-543-4662. Make sure you state the record, where you're from, and who you represent. Because we want you to can contribute and talk about your team, and so that way we can actually agree with you for a limited time only. I'm sorry. We're gonna have a panel that we always do on Saturday. We're gonna actually talk about what they believe was going around the horn in the sports world, and we're gonna have the co-host and coach come in as always with some new listeners as well. So, with that being said, let's start the show. Washington Commanders, they've been impressed with Jaden Daniels. They've been impressed with the whole entire crew. Now's the time to put the playbook together and showcase their skills. So this is the greatest thing they can actually do. Jaden Daniels has improved greatly. His skills is off the charts, as we always knew, coming out of college. Now is to put a whole playbook together, and Kingsbury is happy with his maturity. Dan Quinn is happy with his explosiveness, his arm, his accuracy, his toughness, and everything top notch about him. And the thing about that is the actual thing of the Commanders is getting better. So I say with very, very high enthusiasm, this team already on the field is getting better. We improve with a great level of talent players in all positions. Now it's the time to show what the paper really says that we're a good team. Defensively, I really haven't seen it. Now, there's a lot of ideas floating around that we might be more than just a both rush the both ends type of defense, but we might have everybody rush the quarterback, including the safety and corner and nickel and dime and quarters. If that's the case, then yes, this is an explosive defense that no other team will ever want to meet in the NFL. But what bothers me the most is that even though it's traditional, even traditional has some sort of rating. We're going against Tampa Bay week 1. This is not a Tampa Bay to take lightly. You got Baker Mayfield behind the center. You got Mike, whatever his name is. You got Mike, the wide receiver, Williams. We'll say Mike Williams, but even though Mike Williams used to play for the Houston Texans, but Williams is by far a beast, and you have their defense. Their defense is the Tampa 2, which they model after the John Lynch and Warren Sapp legacy of those Super Bowl caliber team. But if we are tend to rush the quarterback with all players on defense, we're better than the Tampa 2. We're better than any football in the league. My thing is, if you have a defense that's capable of disrupting the offense, Super Bowl bound. You hear me say it first, even though we haven't played one game yet. I think that's where I'm start. Now, of course, I'm going to have some backlash. I'm going to have some, haterade, if you will. But I'm going to tell you like this: without a doubt, this team on offense is going to be explosive. It's just the defense. I really haven't seen anything. We got a panel, as we always have, of athletic minds. Um, we got, I believe, Big Steve is here. Soon we have Coach, and we'll soon have Louis Tenor, host of the Hand Sports Show, and two other football minds as well. So let's start the show. Big Steve, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Happy Memorial Day to you.
Happy Memorial Day to you and your family. Like I said, I watched the rookie training camp with you, and Daniel's got it on, no doubt in my mind. And they said that, because he may have to pick up weight, but you had Jackson from Baltimore saying he had to lose some weight. He wish he was Daniel's weight because it makes him move faster. So that's telling us a lot about our quarterback. I think we got everything set in line, Russell, so I think we're ready. I think people are going to underestimate us, and I think we're going to be 12-5 and win the NFC East.
That's a big statement right there. What I would like to say is, how combine is, and how these analysts like to judge quarterbacks and running backs and their weight, their strength, their agility, their quickness, just to see if they could put a narrative out there to knock off the opponents or the player itself. And look what they happened with Tom Brady. Look what happened with Jalen Hurst. Look at what happened with Patrick Holmes. These ideas of these analysts sitting down behind a table, glaring at the screen and looking at this paper, judging weight, height, knees, arms, and every ligament in the book, but cannot even articulate what he did on the field in every single quarter of every single game. They don't see the hours of torture and putting their body through pain just to get it to a point where they are lethal, as Jaden Daniel is. I would say 12-5 is a little bit steep. I'm still saying 9-7, because the middle of the schedule that we have is particularly the best indicator of how we are. I apologize for the noise in the background. It's my notification. But as I was saying before, if you look at the middle of the schedule, this middle of the schedule is not really favorable to us, because it's some really good teams out there with a really good quarter. If we intend to get hot in, let's say, the middle of November and leading into December, then we have a shot to balance December and go on a winning streak and then go into the playoffs. I still have us going to the playoffs.
People underestimate us. Remember, this is a new defense. This is a defensive coordinator that led Dallas for the last couple of years. He got this assistant. Then we got Ken Norton Jr. as a linebacker coach. We got a new offensive line coach. We got a new offensive coordinator. And people forgot the free agents that we picked up. We picked up everybody, they say, we lost Gibson, we lost Kissick and all that. But we got Ecker. Just say Ecker had a bad year. Okay, but guess what? I think Remember, this young man, Daniels, had 40 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. 40.
Okay.
That's like the number one. He was number one in college forever. I mean, ever. His stats are phenomenal. Remember, he ran for 1,100 yards also and 7 touchdowns.
So
we good.
No, I agree with your assessment on offense. That's not where my concern is. Offensively, we did exactly what we're supposed to be doing. We went and got a ton of talent, a ton on all of the possibilities of the position.
All phases of the game.
Well, not all phases. We still got to worry about special teams. But we got all of the players that we tend to do. We're supposed to, feel all the positions on offense. And we did that. We went and got old, new, head coaches that were, already in the game. New head coaches that used to be players, now head coaches in the game. We did everything on offense that we're supposed to be doing to bulk up, and we did that. I think we leveled out the NFC East. Defensively is where the problem starts to question. Now, yes, don't get me wrong, Bobby Wagner. I'm a Bobby Wagner fan. The Legion of Boom. Come on. This guy was the prime example in the middle. You could not get near this guy. He would tackle the crap out of you. You had to scheme around him just to get in there, to get a first down. The problem I have is, are we ready to take on Tampa? Because Tampa is going to test us greatly. I'm talking about on the edges, inside, outside, in the air, in the corner, in the end zone. They're going to scheme like there's nobody business. Are we prepared to take this W?
Got one thing though. We had a coach who was a mastermind. Remember, he started the Legion of Doom and the Legion of Boom in Seattle.
Right.
We have him.
Yes.
Remember, he was from there to Atlanta. Remember, Atlanta was ranked top 3 in defense. But remember, it was their offense they lost the Super Bowl to Patriots. But we also had the defense, the assistant, and Ken Norton, and we got linebackers for a change. Remember, the last couple of years we didn't have linebackers. We may have one, or two, but now we got 4 linebackers. We got 4 starters at linebacker. Okay, So and then we got Sino from Michigan, the Big Ten, the assistant defensive trainer, right after Newton that we had because he went to surgery. People better stop worrying about us instead of we worry about them. People got to worry about us now.
No. So here's the thing. You're right about the coach. You're right about his legacy in Seattle. But ever since Seattle, he hasn't had that Legion of Boom anywhere else. When he went to hold on. No, wait, listen. When they went to the Super Bowl, right? They only had one. I think they had a well-balanced offense. No, let me restate that. They had a well-balanced team, right? They had a well-balanced team to take on Tom Brady and his well-balanced team. But Tom Brady, luckily, had a real talented team. I'm talking about talent. Yes. So
remember when he was the Seattle defensive coordinator, what happened? They bumped the Denver Broncos and beat them like they stole something for their first championship.
Okay.
And he was him and Witten, and people forgot Witten. Witten was with us in Seattle. So
yes.
Guess what? Defense was championship. We was number.
And that's my point.
We don't score.
Yep. Oh, and you know who's here, folks, and this man needs an introduction. He is the co-host of the Enhanced Sports Show, none other than Louis Tenor. What is good, man?
Well, if you're a Ranger fan like me, it's good. If you're a Knicks fan, new.
Well, we're going to get into that too, Lou. We're going to get into that too. I told you, I'm not going to gloat, but we're going to get into that too. We're talking about the defense of the Commanders. OTAs went outstanding for the Commanders. The thing was off the chain. Cannot tell you. This thing was the greatest thing on offense. But when you listened to everybody talk about the defense, everybody is silent. Not even silent, just questioning. So me and Steve were talking about, is this defense going to be good or going to be non-existent? You have all these components of all linebackers, young linebackers. You got, old front fours, new front four. You got, old safety, young safety. You have the mixture of new and old. Now, to go on, I'm not saying that there's not going to be a ton of information and a ton of training and coaching up on the sidelines. My thing is, defensively, we're going to be a little stagnant, right? Offensively, I think we're going to be abundantly good. We're going to be electrifying. So, since Lou is here, I'm going to let go. We're going to talk about the Knicks and what have you afterwards. I want to get your thoughts on it, Lou. What do you think about the defense of the Commanders? What are your thoughts?
The defense, I think, needs a lot of work. I mean, your offense, I think, was fine last year, but, it wasn't that, I think the defense was better. Yeah, you might have made maybe a decent run at the postseason. So, it really got to work on that.
Okay, that's a good analysis, and I think I agree with Lou on this because now to go back to what Steve was saying, Steve said that we had the Legion of Boom himself, the man, the creator, the owner, and the legend himself, who actually took the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl to take on Tom Brady and lost. What I'm explaining to that part of the conversation is, yes, of course, he had Marcus Mariota, which we have now. We have a ton of ex-players, one ex-Falcon, another ex-whatever, and we have them here collectively. Don't get me wrong. I believe we do have talented people on paper, but we still have the process of teaching them how to play as a unit against Tampa Bay game 1. Now, here's the problem. Tampa Bay is not a bad team. Tampa Bay is a fairly good team. Yes, they had the same type of year we did, but they grew and played as a unit defensively. They played the basic Tampa 2. We just recently got John Witt Jr., who was a former Dallas Cowboy linebacker coach, now defensive head coach. So they have a year ahead of us on defense. We starting out now to gel. Now, can we gel before game 1 to where we play up to the level? I hope so. I pray so, because we got youngsters and veterans to play together. So you got to do something. That's my point. Now, offensively, I think Dan Quinn is going to spend a ton of energy on offense. Him and Kingsbury. A ton of injury and getting these guys coached up for the playbook, for the agent, for training camp, for everything. And they're doing it now on OTAs. And Jaden Daniels actually showing up. That's what you want. That's what you want at a high quality quarterback, right, drafted out of the first round. You want him to show up. And he's showing up dramatically. He's impressing Scary Terry. He's a spread of Johan Dotson. Zach Ertz and John Bates and Cole Turner and the other Ben Sinnott and other additions to the offense. So this is what I'm saying. If we're going to show out and show these talented players on the opposite side that we are talented too, plus 10, we're going to do it on defense. We're going to smack the taste out their mouths. We're going to knock the stuffing out of the turkey, because we have to let them know that this game is not going to go as what they play in OTAs or training camp, and they're going to have up their game in the fourth quarter, and that's how games are won, in the fourth quarter. I want this team to understand, and this is what I was saying in April, that home field advantage means a lot. We are, I think we're 20-4 at home when it's home field advantage. We haven't gotten there yet. Now it's been flipped. When we have home field advantage, we're now 4-20. So that's horrible.
Yeah.
So that is my point. So let's go ahead and come back to this, because I had a little bit of a technical difficulty a little bit early, but we'll come back to this. Let's go to the NBA. Now, Lou was talking about his Knicks. Folks, Lou is a Knicks fan, and Knicks were going against the Pacers. The Pacers took the Knicks to Game 7. Bronson got hurt, came back, and I said this, on the show about 2-3 Saturdays ago. I told excuse me. I told Lou this is not going to help him. This is not going to happen. Pacers going to win. Either, you get that little sound. I'm like, sorry, bro. I'm just letting you know. But that's the thing. Bronson can't do it by himself. Randall was supposed to score at least 30. Randall couldn't do it. Bronson scored 40 with contribution around the league. Around the team. That didn't help out. They lost. They got knocked out. So, Lou, in your honest opinion, why did the Knicks take it to Game 7? Why couldn't they finish them in Game 6?
Well, look, Pacers were, are always tough at home, number one. And number two, they were getting so beat up, throughout the regular season in the playoffs that, it was very tough to do to overpower with Halliburton and the rest of the Pacers. And Andrew Brewson got hurt. You knew that was a man there because, there wasn't very many players left who can sustain it. And that's how they lost. Injuries really killed the team right then and there. And Andrew Brewson went down Game 7. That's it. It's over. Even when they tried to got within 6 points, Pacers always found a way to fight back. And, it was just too strong for them. And like I said, the injuries, really did them in. Because you can't win a team, you can't win a streak if your team is nothing more than a horrible train wreck, which is what they become. So that's it, that's right there.
That's true.
You gotta stay healthy if you're gonna in the playoffs. If you're gonna make it to the deeper rounds, otherwise it's gonna be a very quick exit. And before the injuries took place, yeah, it's got a chance. But after that, how do you come back with half your team, looking like a mass shooter? It can't happen.
He said look like a mass shooter.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the other line.
Well, if you look at it like this, you're absolutely right in the exhaustion of the team, but
yeah,
you can't leave your star player on the field on the court for 50 minutes or 48 minutes, and then and think he's not going to get hurt. And then you rotate him out of this rotation and bring your second point guard in. Now, once you do that, your team becomes a little bit more predictable. And then that's when the Pacers took advantage of them because their players are more hydrated than nothing. So what they did was they probably, call timeout, get them hydrated, and then, schemed around the team, right? And then went for the offensive. But then what you do, the opponent did, was keep them on the floor and don't call timeout. I think you misused the timeouts to dispute a or to stop a momentum swing. That's natural. You're supposed to do that, but you also got to placate to your players who are getting, dehydrated and not sustaining any buckets. And that's what happened in the fourth quarter. And that's how they lost game 6 and game 7. Now what you're doing is you're trying to, now that you lost, now you got to figure out who's going to go, who's going to stay. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's unacceptable. So now the Pacers are losing to the Boston Celtics. I got this game going to game 5 and it's done.
With how Burton out now, that I think would be a big advantage to the Celtics.
Oh yeah.
Not that home, but still.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I don't see the Pacers winning in Indianapolis. I don't see them beating the Celtics in Indianapolis. I think the Celtics will take one in Indianapolis, and they take both home and away, and it's done. It's done. Yeah, there's no coming back. Now, let's go around the league, and then we'll come back to the Commanders. Now, we didn't get a chance to talk about the other. We didn't talk about the, what was it? We didn't talk about the Giants, and we didn't talk about the Eagles, but we did talk about Dallas. So let's go ahead and talk about the Giants' schedule and see where they start at. So their opening, schedule is, I would say, funny, but I'm not going to do that, but it is kind of funny. It is very kind of funny because if you look at we looked at their roster. Daniel Jones, Casey Carter. They got Nabler. Let's go ahead and go to there. And we'll comment on whether they're going to win or lose in their opening as well. So we're right now, week 1, they got Minnesota Vikings at home. So let's talk about that. Do you think this team is ready to take on the quarterback in this game? Let's go with Lou and end with Steve.
No chance.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. What you got?
Quarterback. Forget it.
Yeah, I know. I said that too. What you got, Big Steve?
Well, we're going to win because we're playing at home and we owe the Giants. Stay that for the last 2 years.
Yeah, but do you think they're going to beat Minnesota in their first game?
Oh, so like the Giants? No. Well, that's what you say that again. Maybe yes, because Giants got a defense. Daniel Jones but the other guys don't decent. Remember Minnesota's starting their rookie quarterback, so they don't have a good offensive line because remember Kirk Cousins took a lot of hits, and they don't have a good wide receiver. So I think the Giants will beat them.
Oh man, we got 1 from 1. This has never happened on the show before. This is cool. In my opinion, I think if Daniel Jones connects with Nabler 99.99% of the time, run the football, throw it to his tight ends, at least maybe 20%, they have a shot. I don't know what Minnesota offense is and what their scheme is. I don't know what quarterback system they are going to implement in this game. But if they're out of whack, if they're not even consistent, New York is going to cream them, right, on the road or at home. At home. But if Minnesota prevails in the fourth quarter in the running game, watch out. This Vikings team might be a little bit dangerous for the North. So the Green Bay Packers might have a whole problem with them. So, I agree with both of you wholeheartedly. I believe if the Giants lose, it's because of their offense. If they win, it's because of their defense. I believe this will be the twist of the game. They're not going to be balanced. This is why, because they don't really have a really good offense. Let me say that again. They don't have a really good offense. They have an okay offense. They don't have a tight end. They have a wide receiver now. They have two quarterbacks. They're not that good. They gave up Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. To the Eagles. I was talking to one Giants fan, right? He is adamantly upset that Saquon is not a Giant. He should retire a Giant. And he's right. He should have been retired a Giant for a long time. But let him go. That sounds like Alfred Morris 101. Alfred Morris wanted to stay. They sent him off. He went to Dallas. Dallas, used him, won a few games with him. He was out of it, gone. Now, Saquon is the most hated running back in the Giants league right now. Folks, you can't get any better in rivalry 1-on-1. You just can't. Let's go to the Eagles. We're liking this. All right. And then we'll go back to the Commanders and then go back to baseball. We're going to the Eagles schedule. Now, the Eagles schedule is very unique. Now, in the draft, they said that the Eagles were supreme A's because they buffed it up their defense with hybrids. Folks, this is check your NFL listings because this will be the game of the week. Eagles take on none other than the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. That is like a bout fight of watching Mayweather versus what's that dude's name? The one that just lost the belt. You know what I'm talking about. That guy. And then the Eagles take on the Patriots in New England, which is going to be an easy win for them because there ain't nothing there. And then week 3, they take on Minnesota at home. So 2 away games, and then they're home. So that's all preseason. Preseason is 1, 2, and 3. And week 1, they take on the Green Bay Packers in Philly. And then they take on the Atlanta Falcons in Philly. Week 3, they go to New Orleans, take on the Saints. Week 4, they take on Tampa Bay in Tampa. And then week 5, they have a bye. And then week 6, they take on the Browns. Then the Giants in New York. And then Cincinnati. Jacksonville and at home in Philly. And then Dallas, week 10 in Dallas. Then week 11, say hello to Washington at home. Week 12, they go to LA to take on the Rams. Week 13 is a rematch of the preseason. Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Now, see, that's the highlight that I wanted to highlight in the week, in the preseason. But this game is for all the marbles at 4:25, December 1st.
Yeah.
Can't get any better than that. That's prime time. Prime time CBS.
Yeah.
And then for week 14, they take on the Panthers. The Panthers is a W. And then Pittsburgh, week 15, 15 days away from New Year's Day. Wow. Those schedulers know how to schedule, don't they? Week 16, I know. week 16 they go to Washington, take on Washington, and then last but not least, week 17 home against Dallas, and then away home at New York. So that's a favorable schedule, wouldn't you say, for those Eagles, or would you say that is like kind of bag thing second half? What do y'all think? Let's go with Steve and then Lou.
I think the Eagles will have some problems. They don't have a couple of their defensive ends retired, a couple of offensive guards. Like I said, they'll have Charles Jr. as the middle linebacker. His father is father. I think Philly is going to be in third place this year because I think they're going to have issues.
I agree with that. I agree. That's about right. That I agree with that 100%. What do you think, Lou?
Wait, repeat the question again.
Well, just based off the schedule I read, do you think that is a favorable schedule for the Eagles, or not so good schedule for the Eagles?
Knowing the Eagles of what they've done the past few years, as much as I hate to say it, yeah, it looks to be a favorable schedule, much to my dismay.
Yeah, I think the first half is a favorable schedule for them. The second half is more of a division rivalry, so to speak. They still got a little few, and they still got to beat the Steelers. They still got to take on Green Bay. That's a little bit of a rocky thing. Now, if they wake up week 5 feeling great and go week 6 and take on the Browns and lose because of Deshaun Watson, yeah, that's going to get them really upset because they are favored to win the East off of the schedule. But for a minute, you got to look at the Rams. The Rams are no pushover, The Rams are pretty good. I think their defense is lacking, but they do have a collective group of tacklers that can actually win. They got KC Cup, right? They got Cup. They got the running back. They got, I think, Stafford is there. Stafford might be retiring. They might got another quarterback in mind. So, I mean, there's a little bit of uptake with the Rams, But what I see for the Eagles is I see a little bit of climb and a little bit of decline. For us, it depends on our defense. If our defense lights it up the first 3 games, the NFC East is on notice that this defense is coming. And when it does, it's going to engulf like a tsunami, right? I just hope and just hope this defense shine. So let's come back to that. Let's go directly to baseball. And then we're going to go to the NBA draft and then circle back to the end with the Commanders. But here's the thing. The Washington Nationals, folks. The Washington Nationals been giving me a yo-yo season, right? I don't know what's going on with them, but y'all going to help me out with this because I need some clarification real quick. What's going on with the Nationals, folks? What's going on? First they win, then they lose. What's going on? Let's go with Steve and then with Lou.
Okay, as far as the Nationals, like I said, they still young. They're doing a lot better than they did last year. I just seen the Baltimore Orioles win, today, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, correct.
Right now, the Nationals play Seattle. I think it's tied. So, I think they just need some pitching. I mean, even though they had an undefeated pitching today, so they give them time. They'll be all right.
Yeah, because I see that they won against the Mariners 3-1. Uh, throughout the month, they might win another championship. They might win a pennant, you know, but I don't see it. But the good thing about it is what Big Steve said. The Orioles beat the White Sox today, 5-3. Got a little scared because the Sox went up 3-0, but we came back in the eighth and won it 5-3. 29 wins. Well, the Yankees scored and won. They have 37 wins on the year, which is still a problematic thing because the Yankees don't need to win anything right now. They want a lot, but they keep winning. Hats off to well, there's 32. Excuse me, there are 32 wins, and which is still good. It's a great thing. I think Baltimore is on their way to a playoff again. I think they win. I think they're 4 games out. They're 4 games out of first place, or 2.5 games out of first place. They're 17-10 at home and 15-8 away. Yankees are 36-17, 18-8 at home, 18-9 away. With the ratio of 8-2 and us is 6-4, Yankees have the hot team right now. So, would you say that this Yankees team is for real or something to contend with? Let's go with Lude and with Steve. Well, let me tell you this. I think the Yankees might be a contender, but I don't see it. I think they're just playing really good baseball, but so is the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles are playing. I think we got another caller. No, it's just me. So, well, yeah. So what I was saying was, do you think the Yankees with the 36-17 record versus the Baltimore Orioles 32-18 record, do you think the Yankees are a heavily contender for the East, or is this another rematch of what happened last year? Let's go with Lou and with Steve.
I don't want to sound biased, but I think the way the Yankees are going, yeah, they could be different, but I don't think it's going to be a lot because I think the Orioles are going to make a case, as we continue on to the year. I mean, now through when the 50-game mark, we're at the 1/4 mark of the year. The Orioles have held up, a lot despite the years that they've been taking, but they've always been a test to us, on our side, and that's what they continue. I mean, this is not the Orioles from 5-10 years ago where they were just an absolute junk heap. They made good moves in the off season, acquired with ranked minor league players, and that's what it takes to build a team like that. And for the past 3 years now, they have shown why they have been in the AL East, and they do expect it to continue. So I don't see the Yankees running away with this division at all. I think it's going to be very close. But aside from that, it's going to be like a two-way race in that division because everybody else is going way ahead of the pack already. And as we get further into like June, July, and August, that's when you start separating the men from the boys here. and I think it's going to be a two-way race between those two heated rivals.
Good assessment. Big Steve, what do you think?
Well, I have to go with Lou. Lou is the baseball man on sports here, so I have to go with you there.
Hey, man, listen. Steve, hey, Big Steve, I go with Lou too, man. He knows he's more knowledgeable on the Yankees than anything. I think I think Orioles have a advantage in the hitting department. We're not as dominant as we once were last year in the pitching department. Defensive wise, we're pretty okay. Infield, outfield, we're actually okay. It's the hitting rotation and the pitching rotation I'm kind of a little bit eerie about. But if we get the rotation fixed before we hit October, we're good. We're good. We might take it in October. If right now it's close, 2.5 games out of first place, we're not as hot like we were. And we were in the first 2-3 months. Now we're not. We're in the middle of May, going on June, and the Yankees are leaning 36 to our 32, which is 4 games out. I think the next 5 series of Baltimore will determine if we sail again or the Yankees take over and Aaron Judge get hurt or Soto gets hurt, then that's it. That's we got him, type of thing. That means the pitching rotation has to be more tight and clean until they get back. Then we go on a tear. So that's the only way we could take them. If we take them out of the element or they take themselves out of the element, we got them. That's how I feel. We got 9 minutes, folks. 9 minutes. All right. I would say NHL. What happened to the Rangers? Lou, help me out.
Game 1, now look, as I said on my show, this is not going to be a cakewalk. You got the 2 best teams in the conference with the 2 hottest goaltenders in the conference.
Right.
And, they're just showing you how they got here, for the second straight year. And they gave Sikorsky a run for his money. What was the defensive game to start out the playoffs, this series rather. Florida just showed, how they were able to manage to beat the Rangers. And on their turf. So Scherzer was off his game that night.
Right.
But last night, we got an unexpected hero in overtime to even up the series. Now, as I said, this is not going to be an easy series for either team. I wouldn't expect them to sweep it all. I'm thinking it's going to go 7 games. So, yeah, there is going to be, some disruption in the house. But I was thinking that each team would be winning at home, of course. So now we get to the opposite. But, this is exactly what I would thought that this series is going to be. Because, after all, it is a conference playoffs. We have the 2 best goaltenders in the country. This is how the defense should be.
Right.
Now, if they would have lost last night, then it might have been a little bit of a problem, a bit more concerning. But I was not concerned so much with losing the first game because we've been in this situation before, losing the first game of the series and come back to win the series. So I wasn't really all too concerned about it, losing game 1. Disappointed, yes, but hitting the panic button, no. So I think with that overtime goal last night from the I think keeps the Rangers a little bit more momentum as they hand to Florida for games 3 and 4. But this series is not over by a long shot at all. I expect this to be a dogfight series going all the way to 7 games, and with the Rangers prevailing and going with a cut.
Wow. When Lou talks about the Rangers passionately, you got to sit there and listen because it's all factual. Yeah. Good job, bro. Good job. Yeah, I think we got to get Big Steve to comment on that. What you think about Steve?
Yeah, he's right. Like I say, he's the baseball man. So but in hockey, I can get the ball. I mean, they played a great game last night, and like I said, Sunday at 3:30 on ABC. I'm a hockey fanatic. I told people you have to see hockey live too because it's a great atmosphere to see a hockey game live. I used to go to the Capitol Arena down on 7th Street, and to see hockey live is great.
And today represents a very significant date in Rangers history.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Yo, historic.
Those who pay attention, analysts and Ranger fans know this. That this was a day 30 years ago. That's right, I said 30 years ago. That this was the famous Game 6, I guarantee a win game from Mark Messier himself. That's what I thought it was crazy when he said that. It's like, I guarantee a win. I mean, really, that guy's impossible. What looked like it was going to be a surefire loss going into the third period, the Devils at 2-1. Messier relied on guarantee and paid off in a big way because he scored a hat trick in the Meadowlands on that night 30 years ago. Shocked the Devils home crowd. I almost dropped dead after that because I don't believe a hat trick. I fainted to the floor. This is unbelievable. Setting up for a Game 7, and just when I was on the brink of winning that game, the Devils tied up with 7 seconds left in regulation, and the Rangers came back in double overtime. So we went from almost was going to be eliminated in 6 to winning that game and pulling up a dramatic double overtime finish in Game 7 to head to the Stanley Cup.
Well, we're glad
what was our 2 games that was?
Well, we're glad that you didn't drop dead, and we're glad that you're on the show telling us about it.
If you would have tried Game 6 like I did, you would have.
I believe you. I know. Don't get me wrong. I would have fell down the steps thinking that. But we're just.
From what I thought he said was a joke. It's like he did. He said he would do it. I guarantee you, he got it.
Well, you know what, Lou? I would say there was sentiments of the same thing when we saw the famous night where Mark Brunell threw that pass to Santana Moss in Dallas and won it. And it was a stalemate with Sean Taylor knocking out half of the defense offensively, and we're knocking out the defense offensively, to get that W, so hats off to you.
Would you like to throw in the Pittsburgh game of 75, the immaculate reception?
You know what? Honest, let me. Okay, so this is how I feel about that game. That game was by far a nail biter because that cameraman didn't capture the catch. He caught the football and ran it in. They said it touched the ground, right? So it touched the ground, and he ran it for a touchdown. So if the whatchamacallit, what was that guy name? The referee didn't see that, because if they replayed it, well, see, that's when replay wasn't invented yet. But if they was to replay it and show that it touched the ground, the Steelers would have won it anyway, because the Steelers were favored in that game to win it. So they would have won the game because they didn't have enough to review. And then that's when the whole thing went sour. The Raiders were upset. They said it touched the ground. We wanted to punch the Steelers in the face. I would have went home early that day because I didn't want to stay in the rest of the game because I have work next week. I wouldn't do anything like that. I wouldn't stay and just to see if it would, we won. You got to play it smart. Anyway, we got 2 minutes left. All right. Any thoughts about OTAs? What were the C4 in the game? Lou, and then Steve, and then we out. What is to look for to OTAs? Go for it.
I don't think much of the OTAs. Everybody, trying to get back in. We kind of way down towards the start of the preseason. Of course, there's going to be controversy with who steps out, who is in, who does not want to be in case in point. So, I'll just leave it at that, because there's going to be holdouts with that anyway.
That is a great point. Good job, Lou. Big Steve, take us home.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you look for the OTAs?
I'm looking for defense to fine tune themselves, and our quarterback hopefully did good. Like when they have the defense with them next week, I'll be able to see that.
You and me both, my friend. You and me both. Well, that is it for the DMV Sports Show. Hope to see y'all soon next Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're human first and everything second, so go conquer your dreams because you're conquerors by definition. So have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial Day. And God bless and be safe.
You too, sir.
You too, sir. And thanks for tuning in. Sorry we're a little late. We had technical difficulties, but don't worry. We'll come back next Saturday to talk about the Commanders, OTA, training camp, and who is on the defensive juggernaut, and are we going to be a defensive juggernaut team? I can't wait. So be safe. I'm out. Memorial Day safe. Eat a lot of food. Have parties and have fun. Peace.